Welcome, my name's Tom, and I'm going to teach you how to play City of Demons, designed by Jim DuBois and published by Nightingale Games. This is a game where you live on the outskirts of a ruined city, you're part of a tribe, and you are one of the brave runners who enter the city seeking resources and collecting information, but the ultimate goal is to get to the control room before the other tribe and discover hidden knowledge. The game comes with this board here. The camp's on the left for this player, and the city's over here on the right. Put these mats out. There's some reference on the left. This is where you'll be collecting the junk and keeping track of your health and where you put your beacons when you go into the city. You'll set up these 5 dice. They have dots on them, so you know which level they correspond to. 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, 5 dot. And then you'll put the runner discs on the start location in the outer perimeter. The underground tunnel die goes right here. Each player gets 2 of these little black cubes, which track your stats, your max health, and your demon evasion skill. The first player gets 1 junk in their junk pile in the camp and 1 info. Second player starts with 2 junk and 2 info. You'll shuffle the deck of 36 gear cards over here. There's also a 8-page rule book. You can use the last page as reference for rules. Each player will start off with 3 health tokens, and on your turn you'll be rolling the die that corresponds to the level of the city that you're on, and then you'll take end of turn actions. So we'll go over the symbols for what they mean. This is info. So if you roll this, you'll take one of these info tokens and relay it back to camp. This is a beacon. You'll take one of these and put it on your runner disc here. Those act as keys, and you'll use them later for the secret locations. If you roll this, you discover a piece of junk, and you can pop that in your backpack. If you roll this, the go in arrow, you'll get a beacon, and then you will also move forward. And if you enter a space where there's an info token printed on the map, you'll also collect that and relay it back to camp. You'll also be able to collect junk when you enter the swamp. Finally, there's the hazards, which if you might run into radiation, which is this symbol, and you'll take 1 damage for that. And if you run into the demon, represented by an X, you'll take 2 damage for each X on the die. If there are multiple symbols, you can resolve them in any order. And when you're done, you just put the die back, and then you can take any of the end of turn actions. You can spend info at the end of your turn, and if you spend 3 info, you can up your max health. So I would go from 3 to 4 and get the health immediately. And if you spend 4 info, you'll get a beacon, and if you spend 5 info, you can up your demon evasion skill. It goes from 0, 1, 2, and 3. And these help you evade demons. So here on the 3rd level, you encounter 3 demons. Normally you'd be taking 6 damage, but if you were up on demon evasion level 2, you would evade 2 of them and only take 2 damage for that 3rd one. Another thing you can do at the end of your turn is spend beacons. And when you're spending beacons, you can do just one of the following actions. You can either spend beacons to discover the secret location and activate it. I'll go over what each of those are in a minute. Or you can spend a beacon to go in a level. So if you're not rolling the arrows, you can spend a beacon and move in, and you'll get the info, and then end your movement. You won't roll the die. Another thing you can do when you're spending beacons is you can trade them 1 for 1 for info or 1 for 2 for junk. Then back to the secret locations. So if you're in the first level, that's the med center. That will boost you back up to full health +1, which lasts only for that run. The second one is the surveillance node on level 2. It costs 1 beacon to activate, and you put the beacon here as a reminder that you've activated it. And then from then on, you can spend beacons to re-roll a die. And this will go away at the end of your run if you return to camp. The third one is a defense node, which plays havoc with the other player. It'll send them back to the outer perimeter. Costs 2 beacons. For the equipment locker, you'll get 2 free gear cards without having to pay the cost. So you'll just get them immediately. And finally, there's the control room, which costs 5 beacons, and that's how you win the game. Note that on the last space, there's a U-turn, and you'll get bumped back to the 4th level if you roll the arrow die on that. Another thing you can do at the end of your turn is activate any gear. Really, you can activate gear if you're encountering demons, or there's lots of situations where you can activate your gear. And then you can always choose to go back to camp. So if you're really low on health, you might go back to camp. And when you do that, you go back up to your max health, and then you can transfer any junk that you've collected back to camp. You cannot transfer any beacons. Those will be lost, so it's best to spend them before. And then you can start fixing junk. And you do that by drawing 2 cards off the top of the deck and choosing one of them to fix. So we've got a jetpack. The cost is in the upper right here with how much junk you need. So we can build a jetpack or radiation pills, which cost 1. And sometimes they have symbols in the bottom left, like this relates to demons and this relates to radiation. So this says once per run, you may drop all your junk to evade all demons. So let's start fixing that. So you'll put the junk on the one that you choose to fix. And if you don't have enough, you can fix it partially. They can go back into the city and then come back and finish fixing it later. But let's say you have enough, then you'll remove the junk and set the card over here to show that it's complete. You managed to scrounge enough stuff to build this awesome thing. And then optionally, you can spend an info and also fix the second guard or start fixing it if you don't have enough junk. If you do have enough junk, you can just finish it. So let's say they got the radiation pills as well. So that's how you fix gear. And then when you're ready, you could stay in camp and do that again if you have lots of junk. Take a whole nother turn to draw more cards and fix more gear. Or on your next turn, you can start heading back into the city. And if you go into the swamp, that's just a sort of staging area. You'll get a junk. And then on the next turn, you'll move into the first level of the city and start rolling this die. Now there's only 1 demon in the first level, and then there's 2, 3, 4, and 5, so it gets increasingly difficult as you go deeper into the city. And if you lose all the health that you have, you'll get stunned. So you'll go out a level, you'll reset your health to 1, and if you are in the first level, you'll get bumped all the way back to camp. And you'll also lose 1 beacon and 2 junk if you have any of that. You also won't be able to take any end of turn actions. It's getting stunned. And let's say that the other player, since this is a race to the end, the other player's way up there. One thing you can use anywhere from the camp, the swamp, or any of the city locations on your turn, instead of rolling the die where you are, you can choose to enter the tunnels and roll the black die. And this is filled with lots of demons and radiation. but it does have 3 faces with arrows. And how this works is if you roll something with damage, you will take the damage, but if you can keep rolling it instead of only rolling it once. So you might move along, and then at some point you can choose to resurface. And when you resurface, you'll take the info of that location, if it has any, and you'll roll the die and activate the rest of your turn as normal. And that might be a way how you just squeak out a win against the other player. Now, I personally find that the gear cards are the most fun part of the game. It gives you sort of superpowers to deal with the damage that the demons or the radiation causes. And there's some cards that let you maneuver around. I'll just draw some of them here. You've got temporary armor, the spiked club, data probe. So there's 36 cards that you can draw. Usually a game anywhere from 2 to 6 come out during a play for a single player. Let's see if there's any other miscellaneous rules. If you defeat the demons, you'll get a free beacon as a bonus. That's summarized right there. That's about it. You can play this game in 20 minutes with a friend of yours. It's a push your luck dice rolling game for sale now at nightingalegames.com. See you later.